Hey, Digital Deception viewers, welcome back. So I was surfing the internet to do some research for another report I was going to do, and I came across a Substack video that actually backs up what two of my reports a couple weeks back were about. So I figured I'd end the week with playing those for you, showing you the receipts of what I had to say. So here's the first part of the clip that backs up what I was saying about eventually a judge is going to ask if a witness would step up or a witness would step up and file a claim in court. Well, that's happened now. Um, and you'll hear directly from her, the attorney, and one of the victims. I'd just like to say, though, I am not connected with Midas Touch Network or Legal AF. It just happened to be the Substack I came across, happened to be from them guys, and it backs up what I had to say. Thank you for the reporting, Michael Popak. Here you guys go. Here's the video, and we'll be right back.
And justice. Lisa Phillips is an Epstein survivor. She's also a leader of the sexual assault victims movement, and she joined me to give you a special briefing. She was also, full disclosure, my client, and we filed on her behalf an affidavit, a declaration, which Judge Engelmayer cited approvingly in his order. He does recognize that the victims are being re-traumatized here. Let's bring in Lisa Phillips on the intersection. And we are all about the truth here on Legal AF and on the intersection. And I'm so pleased now, we get our audience back together again after our commercial break. I'm so pleased to bring on Lisa Phillips. Lisa, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. A little under the weather, but I'm good.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know you recently celebrated a birthday. Congratulations and happy birthday. And full disclosure, Lisa, you're my client.
Mhm.
And I represented you in a recent filing that was made in which, and there's the filing,
Mhm.
um, and how we got
Yeah.
there was Judge Engelmayer, a
Mhm.
judge who the Trump administration and Department of Justice ran to in order to get him to quote unquote release the Epstein files, as if they were with him and not with the executive branch all along. To be clear to our audience, the Trump administration never needed congressional approval, never needed judicial approval. They've always been sitting on the mountain of evidence, but
Mhm.
they've been working overtime to protect the commander in chief, the president of the United States, and they're conflicted as a result because he really doesn't want full disclosure. And so Massie and Khanna said, "Well, you're in federal court. Why don't we intervene in the case and ask for them, ask for the judge to provide oversight, since we're sitting on the same 12,000 documents for the last 6 weeks when they've already disclosed there's millions more. What's the delay? Judge, please take over. Let us file a brief to do that." And the judge came back with an order and said, I'm kind of like, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm interested to hear more about my power and authority to appoint a special master over this process. The parties are only Ghislaine Maxwell, of all people, and the US. I haven't heard from a victim,
Mhm.
and I'd like to hear more.
Mhm.
So when we saw that, you said, what did you say?
Mhm. Well, I wanted to say what's important is that the federal judge didn't ask for another like political argument or another DOG explanation. He specifically asked whether a victim needed to be heard. So that's the reason why, I spoke to you about it and said we have to do something because this matters. And up until now, survivors have been talked about. We haven't been centered.
Alright, now here's the next one that I found, part of the same video, but I just broke it down into the section, and this verifies what I was saying about the college campuses, NYU being involved. Here's that, and I'll be back to end the show with you.
Coerce survivors to stay within the predatory lair of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The big carrot was, oh, I'll pay for NYU. I'll get you into Columbia. I'll pay your tuition. And then even according to the Wall Street Journal and some investigation on the House side, being money laundered through these universities to be through by Epstein, overpaying them for tuition so that the victims could get cash that it wouldn't show up on direct payments from him. So in other words, money laundering through major universities. I don't know if you saw today, Goldman Sachs has a problem. Its
Oh, yeah.
general counsel apparently was very close with Jeffrey Epstein and either represented him, it was in his will as an executor. She's the general counsel of Goldman Sachs, the leading financial services entity or firm in the world, probably, and she's tainted with the Jeffrey Epstein part. So, talk a little bit about, as we end here. Talk about the NYU major university thing for those that might have missed the story, and which has now opened up an entire new follow the money aspect of the Epstein child sex trafficking ring.
Well, when I spoke out on Capitol Hill, it was really to speak out to survivors to come forward, and that's what they did. And I just wanted to inspire and empower women out there to not hold on to their shame. And we were young when this happened; we didn't know, and learning about grooming and coercion is really important. That's why I started the podcast to begin with, was just to understand how victims get pulled into this layer. And I didn't understand why back then Jeffrey had offered me to go to NYU. I mean, obviously, I thought it was because I was an actress and, like, Tish is a great program. But I always wondered why he was pushing that. After NYU had already told me that I couldn't go. They said, you're already doing TV commercials. You can't be a working actress if you're going to be in this program. But he said, oh, don't worry, I'll make a phone call. And I ended up not going with that program, but it always stuck in my mind. And I had a girlfriend at the time who I would notice, like, you're going to NYU on Jeffrey's paying for it. And, like, I couldn't understand. I mean, obviously now I understand what was going on with her, but she was so quiet and shameful about it. She wouldn't speak up to me about it or anyone during those years. I mean, it's 20 something years ago. And so now it's like, okay, that's what was going on. And other women came forward after I spoke out in November and said, you know what? I also was sent to NYU by Jeffrey Epstein. I was sent to Columbia. I was sent to this art school. He was paying for it. And we all said, well, why was he paying for it? Why? To keep us in his network. So if you're paying for a school, obviously you have to go to school for at least 2 to 4 years. So he keeps you in that network. And then even more, a lot of people don't want to think like this, but a lot of times he's grooming these women to become more educated and more ready for society so that he could introduce you to these men in the network. A lot of these women became the wives of very powerful men. And I know there is some talk about how Melania, met Epstein on the island. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but this is the type of thing that Jeffrey was doing, introducing beautiful, young, ambitious women, educating them, getting the visas to work in the United States, and teaching them about society, introducing them to these men who were later trafficked. And you're wondering, oh, well, wonder why they're.
Alright, guys, like I said, I am no way affiliated with Midas Touch or Legal AF. I just happened to come across Michael Popock's reporting on Substacks. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. If you made it this far and you appreciate the show, like, subscribe, and share. Goes a long way. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys Monday.